Hey, let's
and
see
if I don't remember it right, you can jump in and help me out.
Okay.
Because I'll go ahead and start out with what is usually the most common problem. If you have rope, you kind of need to know how to bundle it up so it's not a disaster.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing ever is when you've got a bundle of rope and this thing is just tied in a million knots, or you pull it out and it's a million knots and you can't deal with it. You're spending, man, sometimes depending on how long that thing is, you can spend a half hour sitting there trying to figure it out. But the best way that I have learned, and I learned it from Justin himself, is to basically take the rope and put it in your hand and to just kind of wrap it around. And if you start with the rope on the left side of your hand and kind of slowly work your way down, you can start overlapping, but making sure you have that one available piece off to the side. This doesn't take too long. Usually if you have enough that's hanging at least close enough to the ground, you can now remove it from your hand. And then at this point, you can start wrapping it around. This is where you need to know the tag end hanging off, that we let hang off the end when we first originally started. And that's right here. You can wrap it as tight as you'd like. Messed it up already, I'm sorry guys. Then if you take that little loop from that same cordage and pull it through that loop, and go ahead and pull that tag in, that locks that in there so your hank stays the same. So now when you want it back, you can just pull it back out. And at this point, well, I'm going to screw myself up here, huh? That one, didn't I? At this point you can pull the whole thing out to help prevent it from being tangled up, like that. The next thing we're going to work on is a bowline.
Do you want me to show them the way I do that?
Yeah, if you would.
I'll say it's virtually the same, but a little bit different. But this is how I do it. Is I start with a little bit of a loop up here like this, and I grip that in my hand, and I keep my tag end hanging down just a little bit, and as all I do is I start wrapping this around my hand just like this. So now we can see that we have our rabbit ear and our tag end hanging down just like this, and then just continuously wrap this around. It doesn't have to be pretty, just do it fast. And as what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this around my hand, depending on how much paracord you have, of course.
I was going to grab a longer one.
Man.
I was going to grab a longer one. This is what messed me up.
Now basically you can see that the rest of my paracord is actually touching the ground, and that's pretty much where I want it. So we've got our rabbit ear, we've got our tag end. I'm going to remove this from my hand now and grip it just like this, okay? Now what I'm going to do is the excess that I've got hanging, I'm just going to start wrapping it and basically hank this up. And like Travis said, you can make this as tight as you want or as loose as you want. Now once I get that wrapped up, I'm going to take my excess piece and I'm going to put it through my rabbit ear. And then I'm going to take my tag in and pull it. Okay? So now this thing is good to go. It's not going to unhang. But the great thing about it is where I pulled the rabbit ear tight, I can remove that excess just like this, pull it right out of there. I can hold this in my hand, and now I can just pull my paracord out just like this. Extremely fast, and it's not going to bunch up, not going to knot up on us. It's just a way to keep your paracord hanged up so that way you can pull it out at a moment's notice and line it. Now, something else that I've seen people do is I've seen people do something similar to that, and you could do this with this technique. Is after you do that, a lot of people will put them on their backpack straps. Okay, so then they have it ready, pull it right off. You've got quick access to cordage. Here we are camping, we got diesels coming through here. But anyway.
So one of the common knots that I use a lot is the bowline knot. This is one that I've taught my daughter many times. They've got a lot of sayings on how to do this. The easiest one that I did for my daughter was I told her to take the tag end of it and just kind of let it lay over your hand like this. The long end's going off that direction, the short end coming more towards you. And if you take the piece and turn your hand with your palm, your thumb down like such, and grab the piece, pinch it in your fingers, and then twist it like you're starting your car, like you're turning the key. At this point, then you pinch the cross section of that knot with your thumb, and then grab the tag end right here. You come up out of the garage, around the block, which would be back behind the long tag end, or under it, and then we come right back into the garage, which would be the original hole you came out of. Then you pinch those two together, like such, and grab the long one and pull.
That was pretty simple.
It seems harder than it is, and the greatest thing about this knot that I love is once you put a lot of tension on it, it's easy to get back out, because all you got to do is grab the knot like it almost naturally sits in your hand, and then just break over that knot, and it comes right undone. If any of you guys need to see that up closer, it's easier if I'm actually like standing behind you doing it. That's a very helpful way to see it. Just got done using the bowline, as you can see. So I've used the bowline in this instance just to wrap it around the tree. I'm just going to go ahead and pull all my rope through it. This is what I use it for. And we're going to move on to the trucker's hitch. In the trucker's hitch, there's the right way and the wrong way. At least I learned a long time ago. And a lot of people will take their rope and twist it, and sometimes they'll grab the end that is the stacked end, which is that end right there, and pull on it. And this is the wrong way. Every time you do that, that's going to jam your finger in there. It'll jam your rope and bind it up, and it doesn't work the same that way. If you take the rope and you grab it and twist it and grab the end for which you're at and pull it through, that allows you to have as big of a loop as you would like to have, or as small as you'd like.
And basically you're doing it away from the anchor point, correct?
Exactly. I'm grabbing away from the anchor point. So after I've done that, all this is doing is giving you a leverage point, basically, to pull the rope as tight as you'd like. And you can just wrench on this thing. And after you've done such, you can just put a little half hitch on that. And I usually like to back that up with another half hitch, just to make it static. We're going to go ahead and go on to a prusik knot. And I'll go ahead and show you also a necklace knot, basically. If you guys want to do adjustable necklaces, things like that. I'm going to go use a bank line for this. A necklace knot is what I usually use. You can just take, for a prusik, you can just take and bend it over and just tie a regular square knot. But I usually do a necklace knot. Don't ask me why. I guess it's just because I like to stay in practice. But basically, if you take that leftover end, pull it over the top, and just tie a regular knot on it. Pull it tight. If you flip it back around to the other side and tie it the exact same way you just did the last side, this is a necklace knot. Sometimes people use it for their necklaces. It'll allow you to slide back and forth to make the necklace longer or shorter. See how the loop will get smaller on you, and when they butt up against each other, it allows it to be a little bit longer knot. But for the prusik, you just have to lay it over and take one end and flip it on the inside. About 3 times. Basically making sure that the one that you pulled on the inside stays on the inside. And we use this knot today to fly up our big tarp, and it allowed us to basically have an anchor point to pull on. Like if you were going to put a tarp on this ridge line, you could put a toggle in here. You can use it to anchor on, and you can put more tension on your tarp as it's pulling away from you. It works both directions, it doesn't matter. And if you use paracord on top of paracord, a lot of times it'll want to slip on you. It doesn't like to bite it very well, mainly just because it's the same diameter. So
basically you can see that when he puts a lot of pressure on that, it's not sliding. But if he goes up there, releases the pressure, and then pushes it from the opposite end gently, it slides with ease.
Hey guys, well, I just want to do a real quick follow-up on Travis's class. If you haven't watched Travis Henry's YouTube videos, he's on YouTube as Survive Without, and he's just a super happy, very positive kind of guy. He's been actually quite fortunate to be able to get out and do some pretty exciting trips lately. The last one he did was in the Rocky Mountains, and he was talking about it at the gathering. I mean, it was just an incredible adventure. Anyway, Travis kind of got a lot of help during that knot class. One thing about knots is you can ask 3 people to tie the same knot, and basically, depending on the knot, you can have 3 different ways to do it. So everybody was just super excited and just wanting to share and everything, and you know, poor Travis, man. He is a good sport though. But anyway, my camera work absolutely sucked. So I want to recap some of the knots that Travis showed us. First of all, that one Justin kind of showed. Put a little loop in your paracord, put your hand over it, just start winding. This one's kind of a big piece. Check out Travis's videos, man. He's like I said, he's done some pretty cool stuff, and he knows a lot of stuff. He went to Sigma 3's 40-day instructor survival course and basically hammered it. I mean, just really did good. So he really knows his stuff. He's very unassuming, very humble. All right. So, and I don't do this too much. So this is, he taught me this at the gathering, which was awesome. So then now you just wrap it, and I'm making sure that my tag end is there, my loop is there. I'm going to wrap it pretty tight. I'm going to put that little tag end through the loop. pull this tag end. Right about there, just so it started to suck inside there. And I can see this would be a real good way to keep your paracord. I'm one of those guys that a lot of times I'm untangling my paracord. So anyway, pull this end back out again so that you can undo that loop. Pull it back out and then pull your paracord. Like I said, my camera work really sucked at the gathering, and I'm sorry about that. I was just real intent on the classes and learning from guys like Travis. All right, let's go on to the next knot he showed us. Just like Travis explained, that's the way I do it, is I turn the key in the ignition, okay? Twist the string. I go up through the hole, around the back, and back down the hole. And it's important to dress this knot correctly. When you dress it, you'll see this little loop going around. It's just a very distinctive shape of knot. And just like Travis said, when you pull it tight, if you break the back of this knot, that's what I call it anyway, and force that loop forward, then it undoes. It undoes real good. Like I said, Travis showed all this stuff. It's just that my camera angles really sucked. Let me show it one more time up a little closer. Turn the key in the ignition. Go up through the loop, around the back of the loop. Notice that distinctive shape of that knot right there. That's what I always look for. That's how I can always tell I tied it correctly. Twist the loop up, around the back, back through, and there you have it like that. Travis is the first one that taught me how to do the trucker's hitch this way. You can basically do it one-handed. That end is anchored to the tree with the knot of your choice. He showed that you just twist it, twist the line, so I have looking at this thing upside down. Twist the line so you have a loop, reach through the loop, and pull it towards the unanchored end, and now you have a trucker's hitch. You can go around your other, or the slip knot basically, in the first part of your trucker's hitch. You can go around your tree or whatever and feed it back through, and as long as you go in this direction, you're fine. And then the loop comes back out again. Okay? Very simple. Wrap it around, twist it. So you just take it. I just have a loop. It's just a very basic loop. Grab the string, back through again. As long as your tree, that's your non-anchored point that you want to anchor to, is in this direction, the direction that you grab the string, just like Travis was saying, but my camera angle sucked, you're fine. The anchor point is fine, and it comes back out again. Alright, once again, Travis showed us the trucker hitch. One-handed, which is awesome. I love the way he showed that. And I got a long piece of paracord here too. And a reef on it. Okay, it doesn't have to be very secure for what we're doing. And I'll get a close-up of the next thing he was talking about. He did 2 knots really quick. He did what he was calling a necklace knot, and he did the prusik. The prusik is real good for attaching cordage to other cordage of a different diameter. I believe I've been told this is called a fisherman's splice. Anyway, you take one side and tie it literally around the other side in basically half of a square knot. Okay? Leave it semi-loose. Okay? I've tied one end around the other end in basically a half of a square knot. Now I take the end that that got tied around and tie it around the other end. Basically a half a square knot on each side. And then this is your necklace knot like Travis was talking about. And when you pull it tight, did I not do that right? I did not do that right somehow. Both ends should slide. One side. That end slides, so you know you got to tie it to the your other side. Check out Travis's channel. He's taught me a ton of stuff. All right, now both the knots go together. It's a very rigid splice. Supposedly fishermen tie two ends of line together this way. Now to attach it to here, the prusik, I like to use the knotted end down, and I'll go through it again, and then dress the knot correctly. It's important it's dressed. That's two lines. Some people, and I think even Travis said, that you should go through a third time. This is where it's important to dress the knot, because I just screwed it up basically. And by dressing the knot, it just means make sure it's all looped over itself correctly. So now there's three inner, middle, outer layers. Everything's tight. Now, that's what you use on your ridgeline a lot of times. And it'll slide, but then it's not going to go anywhere. Once again, you get your fisherman's knot or your necklace knot as Travis described. Go through 1, 2, 3 times, pull it, and then now it's important to, let's see, I did not dress that correctly yet. Now it's dressed. You can see how it's all uniformed. It's not going nowhere. Alright guys, I just wanted to show those knots up close really quick. Travis did an awesome job. My camera work sucked, and I wanted you guys to be able to see what I was seeing up close. And you know, a couple times I turned off the camera and went up to where he was working at and had him show me up close what was going on, what he was showing. Just, you know, to see some of the knots I knew, some of them I did not, and it's good to see how other people tie the knots. A lot of people had different ways of doing the same knot. It was just a very informative class, and Travis did an awesome job. I'm going to put a link to his channel right up here if I remember how to do it. Put his link up there and go check him out. Like I said, super positive dude, super humble, super unassuming, and very knowledgeable. Wait till you see his class on wild edibles. This guy knows his stuff. Alright guys.